Back up. All right. So where were we at? Give me that page again.
Yes, sir.
All right. Damn the devil. Let's go.
It says, there was
Can I see it? I want to see it. I can't see it up here. I want to read along. I want to read along with y'all so I know where you're at. So I'm not in the dark here. All right, thank you. Go ahead. We're going to start from, there was an Orthodox here. There was an Orthodox geography. Start from there. Now, to bring up to speed, this is going into when we were ruling, remember I showed you earlier, and it was a Solomon where Solomon saw the beginning, the end, and the midst of times. This here is the midst of times. When we were ruling in Spain and Portugal, we were highly intelligent, far more than we are now. Okay? Been dumbed down. But in this time here, we had a deep understanding of certain things while living in Spain and Portugal, and we brought this understanding and teachings to the land itself. Enlightenment and understanding to its, and the moon revolve around the earth. We learn in science the other way around, that the sun and the moon sit still and the earth revolves around it, or them, whatever the hell it is. The sun sits still and the earth revolves around, everything revolves around it. It's backwards. Okay? Read again.
The earth was in the center of the universe, the sun and the moon and the stars humbly revolving round it.
Come on.
Jerusalem was in the precise center of the earth.
Wouldn't be surprised. It's insane. Read, or either that or they're lying to us. One or the other. 1 to 5. 1 to 5.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 5. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he arose.
So now you may say, that's not good enough. I mean, it goes up and down. That's not really enough to say anything. Get 1 Ezra 4:34.
1 Ezra chapter 4, verse 34. O ye men, are not women strong? Great is the earth.
Wait. Yeah. I'm sorry, read again.
O ye men, are not women strong? Great is the earth. High is the heaven.
Come on.
Swift is the sun in his course.
Swift is the sun in his course. Well, the sun that stays still, it should have no course. It stays still. Read on.
For he compasseth the heavens round about, and fetcheth his course again to his own place in one day.
The sun moves. You understood that back then? Now you know it now. The sun revolves around the earth. It moves. The sun moves. The moon moves. They move. Now, get Wisdom of Solomon 7:18.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7 and verse 18. The beginning, ending, and midst of the times, the alterations of the turning of the sun.
The turning of the sun. The sun moves. It moves. It turns. It moves. Now, give me Sirach 43. Read verse 1 and jump to verse 5.
Sirach chapter 43 and verse 1. The pride of the height, the clear firmament, the beauty of heaven with his glorious shoe.
Verse 2.
Verse 2. The sun, when it appeareth, declaring.
Where the sun sits still in the center and the planets revolve around it. They call it the heliocentric model. That came by a man named Copernicus. The devil named, we're going to call it the heliocentric model, where everything revolves. The sun sits still, because it's all sun worship, really. The sun sits still and all revolve around it. When originally, most people, or ancient civilizations who were smarter than we are now, believed in what is called the geocentric model, where the sun and the moon move and the earth stays still. And other planets revolve around that. That's called the geocentric model.
Profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science falsely so called.
So the heliocentric model is a science falsely so called. Now, the nail in the coffin for that doctrine is Joshua 10 and verse 5.
Joshua chapter 10 and verse 5. Joshua 10 and verse 5. Therefore, the 5 kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon, gathered themselves together and went up, they and all their host, and encamped before Gibeon, and made war against it.
Come on.
And the men of Gibeon sent unto Joshua to the camp to Gilgal, saying, Slack not thy hand from thy servants. Come up to us quickly, and save us, and help us. For all the kings of the Amorites that dwell in the mountains are gathered together against us.
Come on, this is Joshua, come on.
So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And the Lord said unto Joshua, Fear them not, for I have delivered them into thine hand. There shall not a man of them stand before thee.
Come on.
Joshua therefore came unto them suddenly, and went up from Gilgal all night. And the Lord discomfited them before Israel, and slew them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, and chased them along the way that goeth up to Beth Horon, and smote them to Ezekiel, and unto Makkedah. And it came to pass, as they fled from before Israel, and were in the going down to Beth Horon, that the Lord cast down great stones from heaven upon them.
Meteors, go ahead.
Unto Ezekiel, and they died.
The Most High was fighting them along with us. The Most High was fighting along with Joshua. Do stones from heaven and start killing them. Go ahead.
They were more which died with the hailstones than they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword.
Yeah, the Lord killed more men than we did. Fighting. Go ahead.
And thou moon in the valley of Ajalon.
And why moon? The moon stays still. Why ask? Because these things move. They move. They move. All right, read on.
Verse 13. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed.
The moon didn't move. The sun didn't move. Why? Because they revolve around the earth. Go ahead.
Until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher?
Which is destroyed now. The book of Joshua now is madness. Go ahead.
So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day.
So one day became long as 2 days, because the sun and the moon did not move. So their movement determines the day going by. Now, get Habakkuk 3:11.
Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 11. The sun and moon stood still in their habitation.
Why is this being said if they don't move already? There's no reason to mention them not moving if they don't move already. They move. So the Lord is saying at this point they stand still. Read again.
The sun and moon stood still in their habitation. At the light of thine arrows they went, and at the shining of thy glittering spear.
The Lord's return will be the same thing again. The Lord returns and slaughters armies. Son, it's going to be a long day for them nations. A long and terrible ongoing day when the Lord shows up here. Give me Sirach 46 verse 1.
Sirach chapter 46 and verse 1. Jesus, the son of Nave, was valiant in the wars, and was the successor of Moses in prophecies, who according to his name was made great for the saving of the elect of God.
Joshua means Savior. Come on.
And taking vengeance of the enemies that rose up against them, that he might set Israel in their inheritance.
Jump to verse 3.
Verse 3. Who before him so stood to it? For the Lord himself brought his enemies unto him.
Verse 4.
Did not the sun go back by his means? And was not one day as long as 2?
Why was one day as long as 2? Because the day didn't, the sun and moon didn't move. So it prolonged the day. They didn't move. It's okay. Joshua told the Lord, listen, Lord, make the sun and moon stand still while I kill people real fast. Lord said, okay, stand still. Because there's spirits in these things. Joshua had the power to tell the Lord to have the sun and the moon stand still. That's power beyond understanding. Power beyond understanding. Now, give me, real quick, 2 Kings 6:15.
Second Kings chapter 6 and verse 15.
So the sun and the moon we see all the time, but there are things that we do not see all the time. That's why earlier where it says that the things that were made, the worlds that were made, that are seen were made by things that tend to be unseen. 2 Kings 6 and 15.
2 Kings chapter 6 verse 15. And when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth, behold, an host compassed the city, both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do? And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them.
Elisha said, listen, you afraid of this army outside? There's way more with us than there are with them. What does that mean? Read on.
And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see.
Now his eyes are open, not opened. So Elisha was praying for the Lord to open up his spiritual eyes to see what he could see. Read on.
And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha.
Elisha had spirits of angels surrounding him. A mountain around him. Elisha seeing, so he's opened up this young man's eyes to what Elisha saw all the time. Our forefathers were seeing things on a spiritual level beyond our understanding. So, see, this young man, he's in a room with Elisha, just him and him. Elisha's like, no. There's way more of us in here than them. There's way more of us in here than there is outside. Open his eyes. There's a mountain in the room. Angels around the mountain. Elisha's standing in the midst of it. He's like, oh, what the hell is this? Elisha was surrounded by God. He was surrounded by angels. Read on.
Verse 18. And when they came down to him.
That's all I want. Yeah, read it. Yeah, read it again.
Verse 18. And when they came down to him.
The angels came down to talk to Elisha. Go ahead.
Elisha prayed unto the Lord and said, Smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha.
So they followed Elisha's orders. Elisha asked the Lord, you'll smite them. The Lord said, no problem, I got you, Elisha. I got you. And blinded all the army outside. Spiritually blinded them outside. Now, give me Sirach 43 and verse 8.
Sirach chapter 43 and verse 8.
So we mentioned earlier about Elisha had a host of angels around him, but there's bases. We read earlier about the outgoings of paradise, read that earlier, but there's also places where angels dwell that we can't see. And there's places where angels dwell that we can see. 43 verse 8.
Sirach 43 and verse 8.
Read verse 6.
Verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world.
Verse 8.
Verse 8. The month is called after her name.
The word month comes from moon. Go ahead.
Increasing wonderfully in her changing.
So she goes from real bright white, which we observe, all the way till she can't be seen anymore. Go ahead.
Being an instrument of the armies above.
Of the what?
Being an instrument of the armies above.
Go ahead.
Shining in the firmament of heaven.
Why does it say that she's an instrument of the armies above? You watch a movie called Transformers, the dark side of the moon. Esau has seen things up there. They know what's there. The Bible tells you they're up there. That is a base of operations for the angels. And Esau knows it, and they put it in movies, but they've seen it in the lesson from last time. But the point is that the Most High is making it clear that the moon is a base of operations for the chariots. And there's numerous videos and footage on YouTube of chariots coming from the moon, from behind it, the dark side, flying over the place. They're all over there. And I guarantee you, when Esau did go over there, them angels look just like us. And you know, wasn't a white man inside up there until they got there. Now, give me Ezekiel 1 and 4. I'm almost done.
Ezekiel chapter 1 and verse 4. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding in itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof was the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Also, out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. And this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man.
The body of a man, arms, legs, head, go ahead.
And every one had 4 faces.
But they had 4 faces. They had a face here, here, and one behind. Go ahead.
And everyone had 4 wings.
And they had 4 wings, one up here, 2 here, and 2 down. Go ahead.
And their feet were straight feet. And the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot.
They had a calf's foot. Go ahead.
And they sparkled like the color of burnished brass.
Black angels, black men. Go ahead.
And they had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides. And they 4 had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined. 4 had the face of a man.
Well, so one had the face of the man in the front, black man in the front. Go ahead.
And the face of a lion on the right side.
The lion on this side, the right-hand side, black man's face in front, lion on the right.
And they 4 had the face of an ox on the left side.
Ox on the left side.
They 4 also had the face of an eagle.
Eagle on the back. Go ahead.
Thus were their faces, and their wings were stretched upward.
Wings pointed upwards.
2 wings of every one were joined one to another, and 2 covered their bodies.
So 2 wings covered the bodies, another wing was flying, we were flying with. Go ahead. They have 4 wings. Go ahead.
And they went everyone straight forward.
They moved straight forward. Go ahead.
Whither the Spirit was to go, they went. And they turned not when they went.
They didn't have to turn because they already had a face for each direction. They can take a chess piece. They moved that way, that way. Go ahead.
As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire.
Black. Go ahead.
And like the appearance of lamps.
Light around their body.
And it went up and down among the living creatures.
So they have power. Now jump to chapter 3, verse 13.
Chapter 3 and verse 13. I heard also the noise of the wings of the living creatures that touched one another, and the noise of the wheels over against them.
So Ezekiel so he saw the noise, he heard the noise of their wings flapping, and he can hear the chariots above them, because the chariots were above their heads. Go ahead.
And a noise of great rushing.
A great, those like, well, noise, you can hear a noise as they're moving. Let me see, jump to chapter 10 and verse 8.
Chapter 10 and verse 8.
So wherever the chariot, the angel moved, the chariot above them moved along with them. I'm trying to come for time. 10 verse 8.
Chapter 10 verse 8. And there appeared in the cherubims the form of a man's hand under their wings.
You can see their hand, their wings cover their bodies. But under the wings, he saw a man's hand, their hands. They had regular man hands. Go ahead.
And when I looked,